Hello YouTube, welcome back to Traps Tuesday Toots. This is our second part of our storage system. Last time we built this bad boy over here, which sorts out all the different items you could ever want into individual chests. Multiple different types of items per chest. Now we're going to go ahead and build the bulk storage system hooking up into this. So there are a few simple things we need to get into first. Alright, first of all, we have this simple little sorting system right here. This is the basis of the average sorting system. Who originally invented this, I am not actually sure. But it's been around forever in Minecraft, and everybody has built this. So, this is a very common build, and I'm sure it looks very familiar. The waterway, however, is a little bit newer. Again, I'm not 100% sure who originally invented it. Basically, if you watch any of the other main groups like Hermitcraft, you've seen everybody has a version of this. So I'm not gonna worry about who made it originally. I can do some research if you really want to know, but I think that this is common enough. I don't need to necessarily tell you who exactly made it first. Just that it is a very common method that is definitely 100% not my own. So each section of this follows a fairly simple pattern. So what you have is you have this shape, then you have a repeater going in that direction, you have that bad boy, you have a line of redstone, a line of redstone, another line of redstone, a comparator coming off the back here, and a redstone torch there. Alright, on this side you have a hopper facing into the comparator, then a hopper facing into the block or down, and you have a hopper down here. Now this could face into a chest here, or it could do whatever you want it to do. Alright, so what happens is this redstone torch blocks this hopper from being able to suck items out of this hopper. Because it is blocked up. So then what we need to do is inside of this hopper we take 4 items that aren't going to be sorted in the system and place them here, and then place whatever we want sorted into this hopper right here. So what's going to happen is anytime redstone comes across this hopper, it can fall in, and nothing else can unless it happens to be cobblestone, in this case called sort. I do recommend whatever you put here that you relabel in case you accidentally sort whatever item it is that you didn't plan on sorting. So if you just put cobblestone in here and then cobblestone falls into the system, that can break your system. So what I recommend is to actually rename the items so that you don't ever have any chance of the system breaking. But you could just stick 4 items that won't ever go in here. So say you're building a gold farm. Inside your gold farm, it's not likely to have cobblestone end up in the system. So you could just put cobblestone and that should work. But if you ever broke a build above the gold farm and a bunch of cobblestone fell into the system, it would be a problem. So just watch out for that. But yeah, that's what I like to do. I like to call cobblestone sort so that even regular cobblestone won't get into this system. So what will happen is this will fill up. Now the max that this can have is 64, which means that with 64 plus 4 items, this signal won't go past 3 redstone. So you won't ever get cross-contamination over to the next system if you have another line here. You won't ever activate this block with the filters here, which is why you have the sort items. Otherwise, this all could be redstone, but if this ever got a little bit fuller, you would then start releasing the block next door, and that would be a problem. Once this senses that there's more than 41 items plus the 4, you're going to have a strong enough redstone signal that this redstone repeater turns on, turning off this torch and allowing items to fall through. And they will continue to fall through. It will pull from this one first, because that's what happens with hoppers. So it will pull from this stack, and so that it will never pull these out. And as long as somehow this doesn't get powered improperly, which the filter system prevents, these items will always stay here. And you'll be able to sort out all your redstone down into here. So what we have over here is we just have that repeated 5 separate times. And then we have a waterway going across them. in order to fill it up. Now, the best way to do these waterways is actually to come in at an angle here and hit a chest, or you can use an enchanting table or anything that's just under a full block. I think even honey blocks work. I like to stick 2 of them across, especially when using the blue ice, because sometimes one doesn't do the trick and you end up with items just sitting over here. And then you can use any kind of fence, I think, or anything that's less than a full block. You could, I think, just line this with chests if you wanted to. But I like the iron bars. They work well and they look good, in my opinion. And then the water here keeps the items pushing down this way. They are just enough on top of the hopper that they will get sucked up by the hopper. But they are also on this outer block, which the reason you want to do that is if they go right down the center, what can happen is they can get trapped in the little space. Now that there is a little space, they can get trapped right inside of here, which causes problems. And I can kind of demonstrate that if I just see how that's just sitting underneath. So if it falls into there, it won't keep getting pushed along because it will be just underneath where it needs to be. So it's best if you can to do it this way. It does take up a little bit more space, but it's going to make sure your items don't get stuck in places they shouldn't get stuck. So that's the best way to do that. I use fence gates, but you could use anything, signs, pressure plates, whatever. I find fence gates, because they actually have 100% zero hit block when they're open, are the best, but that obviously could change, and any item that allows items to pass works. Now up here, I actually didn't end up using the waterway. I just used a row of hoppers. That also works with this filter system, not a problem. In the BroCraft server, you'll see I did use waterways just because it's faster. But the one problem with waterways, especially if you're spitting out items quickly into it, is you can have a little bit of a backup. If you have more items fall into one of these hoppers than it can process, then it will get stuck, and that's a bit of a problem. And so then you'll end up with your items going all the way to the end of the bulk area. Alright, so what I've done here is I've stuck the bulk sorting system on top of the other sorting system that we built last time. And so that allows us to stand right here, and we can access both of these chests that are bulk items, and there's a back stock of a whole bunch of more of the same items, and then there's also all the sorted items down here. So you have your multiple items per chest down here, but then you have your bulk items up here. And how we did that was we made the items go across this hopper system and get sorted up here into the bulk storage first, and then they head down to the bottom and go into the entrance of our hopper line for the sorting system down here. And obviously what you could do is you could just have this keep going along multiple rows, and then down here, these, as we discussed at the end of the last video, can keep powering or connecting up to the next set of the sorted items. So you just keep that pattern going, and you can have as many sections as you want, and it should work just fine. Now again, I did do the waterways in the other one, so instead of having this hopper line that comes down on this side, I actually just have the items drop down a hole and get picked up again down there. And so both of those methods work. I just did this so that you guys could see that there's other ways of doing it. So if you want to keep it all in hoppers, that works just fine. Basically, you just need to come into this hopper line and make sure that this doesn't end up right next to anything that's powered, because obviously that would make the hopper not pull items. But as long as you keep this away from a powered block, you are fine, and this will work great. Alright, so we have these filters all set up. They're stone, granite, polished diorite, polished diorite, etc. If we throw these items all into here, what we'll see that the items do start filling up these filters. And once they get to 41, you'll see that the items do start getting pulled out, and that's because they're going down here. Now what we've done down here is we have multiple chests, and you can stack this part of the system as high as you want. And so basically, It comes out, goes into a chest, gets pulled out of that chest, goes into this chest, gets pulled out of that chest, and goes into this chest. Now what I've done down here is I've stacked 2 chests on top of each other, which means that it can't come out of here to go into here. That allows you, as the end user, to be able to access both of these chests and have 2 double chests worth of items to use. The one drawback is it's going to take a little bit of time to get the last of the items out of this hopper into this chest that have to fill up this hopper before this chest gets any items. So if you have just over a single chest worth of items and you want all of them, then you're going to have to wait a little bit for it to filter out. That's the only time that this really becomes a problem. And for bulk storage, you're probably not going to run into that, because if you're storing cobblestone here, you probably have a few double chests of cobblestone. So then you're kind of worried about these filling in here if you need more than 2 double chests. But just come back to your storage system once it's filtered through and you'll be fine. As we can see here, all these items are starting to fill up and they're getting sorted out. And if we come down here, we should see items starting to come into these chests here. So that's how that works. Alright, so what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and build the shulker box unloader system. This was a design that's been around for a hot minute. I actually found it by somebody called Flaywell. I'm not quite sure how you say his name. The link will be in the description. But he took the design from a Reddit from years before that. So it's kind of a little bit of an old design. There's been a lot of little tweaks and iterations of it, and lots of different people have built it. But we're going to build it here. Basically, we have 2 hoppers right here. One of them is going to get the shulker boxes. One of them is going to get the items from the shulker boxes. So all your empty shulker boxes can get returned to a completely different place than the items that are here. So this is where your sortable items are going to go. And this is where your shulker boxes are going to go. Alright, so from that, we're going to go ahead and place a little L shape right there. We're going to stick a block right there. That's going to be temporary. We're going to stick a sticky piston facing out this direction. We'll break that block. We will put a block on top of the sticky piston, pull out a dispenser, and make that face down. Now, we can either go in from the front or the top. I'm going to go ahead and go in from the top right now. But this is what's going to receive our shulker boxes, so this can come in from wherever you're dropping your items off. We're going to come around the back side, and from here, place, 2 scaffolding blocks like so. Then we will grab our observer and place that facing in this direction. We'll grab another observer and face it in this direction, as well as one in this direction. Now we need to stick a sticky piston facing downwards. Come around to this side, place an observer facing in this direction. Place a comparator sticking out in this direction. Then we're going to need to stick a redstone lamp over here. Now we stick 2 blocks there. We throw redstone dust right here and a repeater on 2 ticks right there. We throw a redstone lamp right there and a sticky piston facing in this direction right there. We stick an observer in front of that. We then grab a block and a redstone block, and we throw redstone on top of both of those. Alright, so each of these chests here has 3 items of 4 different types of redstone components each. One of the components in each is a little different, but they're there. So we're going to drop those in, and we'll just drop in the rest of these. And what we should find is that this ends up with those items that get pulled out. Perfect. And all the rest of the shulker boxes end up over here, except for the 2 that don't fit, because this is only got slots for 5. So that worked out perfectly, and that is how you sort out, or how you empty out your shulker boxes. Now, in order for this to work, if you want to be able to dump in both items and shulker boxes, regular items won't work well here. If I just throw in like redstone, this is not going to go well, obviously. So we got a problem. You can't dispense redstone, so it's just clogging up the system. So what we got to do is we got to figure out a way to sort out shulker boxes from non-shulker boxes. Alright, so for this system we again need to grab 2 hoppers and place 2 hoppers next to each other. We then need a dropper facing in one direction. So what's going to happen here is this is going to be the shulker boxes, and this is going to be all of the individual items. We can go ahead and place any shulker box here. This is going to be part of the system, so this needs to remain, so don't use a shulker box you want to keep for yourself, because it's going to stay here forever. Alright, so now behind the dropper, we want to go ahead and place a T shape, or a plus shape, and get rid of the middle. We will stick a comparator on the top here, redstone dust right here, a repeater right here on 2 ticks. Alright, so now we come back 2 blocks and up 1 here. From here we place a single repeater and a redstone dust right there. This is on 1 tick. And then we do need to make sure that we place a redstone dust right here. So basically what's going to happen is you can go ahead and take a hopper and place it into here, and then you can have this go wherever you want. When you stick your items and your shulker boxes into here, what you'll find is this is going to flicker every single time. And what it's going to do is it's going to fire this every single time and try to put the item into this shulker box. If it is not a shulker box, it will go into this shulker box, because everything that's not a shulker box can, and then it will get pulled out by this hopper here. However, if it is a shulker box, it can't go into here, and so it will come down here. This process does take a little bit of time, so what I actually did on the BroCraft server was I doubled up this system per double chest, and then duplicated that on the other side. So I had 2 double chest inputs, so I had 4 of these systems, so that single items could get into the sorting system much quicker. And then I had this system here set up for the shulker boxes. So I only had 1 of these, but I could actually speed up the system even more by building multiple ones of these. And then I had 4 of these. So now what we need to do is we need to get items into the system. Now obviously if you're going to keep everything in hoppers, this works just fine. However, if you are going to input the items into a water stream like over here, we need some sort of a dropper system. So what we have here is a pretty basic dropper system that totally would work. I didn't actually go with this on the BroCraft server, but this is a great one, so I highly recommend it. I'm not sure who originally invented this, but it is another one of those components that's just been around forever. Basically, if you just have a 6 block area and then you have a dropper, so we put a dropper right here. All you gotta do is you take a comparator signal out, you take a comparator signal in, redstone dust there, block here and here, redstone dust here, block on top of this and this, and a quick redstone dust in there. And now basically it will, oh, and this has to be on subtract mode, forgot that. This has to be on subtract mode, and then it will continuously cycle until this dropper is empty, and then it will turn off. And so basically anytime this dropper gets items, it turns on, and then it shoots items out. So this would work great. Currently on the BroCraft server, I have actually gone a different route. So essentially how this works is you stick an item in, and it will quickly shoot out, which is great. Now the problem with this system is what you'll end up with if you have items coming in from a hopper, because the hopper is slow, is you'll get this. Because what happens is this clock is faster than the hopper speed, so if you only have a single hopper coming in, you have it cycles on and off, which does make this piston go. It could cause a little bit of extra lag in your world. It's not the best. I'm trying to come up with a better way of doing it. I want the system to dump items quickly, and what I have on the BroCraft server is I actually have one set of double chests coming in each side, and then the shulker box unloader coming in the top. So it's technically fed from 3 separate places if you fill it up properly. But it could, like, if everything is sorted already or dumped into the system already, except for what's coming out of the shulker box unloader, you're gonna end up with a little bit of that. So that's 2 different types of auto droppers. Basically, it would operate just fine to feed into the water system either direction. The one problem you could run into with this is because that runs faster than hoppers. If you have a bunch of cobblestone all coming in at the same time, you could overfill the filter, and then you might end up with your extra items ending up at the end of the sorting system, which could be problematic depending on how things are going and how many extra chests you have, or if you run your extras into lava or something like that. You could run into problems. So it may not be the best way. This may actually be a better way because this goes at the same rate as hoppers, and you won't run into any of those kinds of items. But that is that. So on the BroCraft server, again, what we have is we have chests that feed into these shulker box detection systems. The shulker boxes go into the shulker box unloader system, and then the items from both of those go into an auto dropper, which goes into water streams, which feeds down into a bulk storage system, and then goes into a sorted storage system. Alright, so we are back on the BroCraft server. Obviously this room is not yet done, but eventually what you're going to have is you're going to have these 2 chests accessible in the floor, and you're going to just dump off any items you want to be sorted into here. And I'm actually going to go ahead and do that with a couple of items in my inventory right now. So you go ahead and do that, and then they go through this shulker box detection system here. And if they are all found to be items, they'll go through. If they're found to be shulker boxes, they will dump into this shulker box unloader right here. And this sorts out the shulker boxes, which go down that hopper line, from the items, which go down this hopper line. So all 3 of those hopper lines, the ones from the 2 sets of shulker box detectors, and the ones from the shulker box unloader all come into a dropper right here. Now you will notice I've placed furnaces on top of all of the exposed hoppers. That's so that no items can accidentally fall on top of a hopper and end up inside of the system, just in case you didn't want that, especially on the lines that like go to the shulker box place, because if an item goes into the shulker box unloader, that breaks the shulker box unloader. So that's just a trick you can do if you place something, a dropper or a furnace or something on top of the hoppers, that makes it so that items can't fall into them. Basically any full block would be fine, but I like to do the furnace because then it just looks like it fits. So then this drops items down that hole, which literally just is a straight hole down into a water stream below. So let's head down there. So we have the shulker box line that does come down and drops your shulker boxes in here. Currently I've just put my extra cobblestone that's labeled here, but this is where the shulker box end up from being unloaded. Then we're going to cut back into the back side of the system. Alright, so all of those items dump right into here, which is the start of our water stream. That flows the items back over into here, which lines them up over here, and then here is the first of our chest water stream system. So it hits right there and comes down this way. And these are all of those filter systems, as you can see back here, that sort out all of those items. And that filter system keeps going all the way around this whole room until it gets over to here. Now when it gets over to here, it drops down this column here into this water stream down here. And this water stream again keeps that same pattern going because the items are actually right in here and I don't want to make them have any problems. So this is here, and then they get picked up by these hoppers. Now I have placed a bunch of different hoppers all along this water stream. In theory, I actually want the items to get picked up right away once it gets down here so that it can go in, but if the hopper gets filled up because they only hold five items, I did want to make sure that there's no problems with them despawning before they do have a place to go. So I have added several extra elements because some of these items are the more rare items. And then we just have lots and lots of slightly smaller modules. So these are only, I believe it's 5 blocks wide? Yeah, these are only 5 block wide modules, as opposed to the 9 blocks that I demonstrated how to build. So again, all you gotta do is cut off the last few modules if you want it to be a smaller setup. So these modules go all the way around the outside of the room and sort all of the different items. And now let's head back into the storage room itself. So now here on the BroCraft server, you have the entrance tunnel right here. These are all sortable items. Currently, nothing actually goes into these first several chests, but starting right about here, we do have items, and they are actually demonstrated on the wall here in this gap. What's going to be inside of that chest. And then there's some that just don't have anything yet, but there's a few that do. This should actually have torches in it, but apparently it is empty right now. Any of the ones that still have the polished andesite don't currently have anything in them, but everything else either does or just it's used up right now. And that is the sorting system that works. And then down below we have the sorted storage system. So like underneath the nether quartz ore, there is quartz blocks, quartz pillars, quartz bricks, quartz stairs, quartz slabs, and nether quartz. And so forth and so on. That's how the entire system is set up. So we have gold ore here, so then we have gold ingots, more gold ingots, gold blocks, and gold nuggets. And so we can sort everything. Unfortunately, I don't yet have acacia, so that should be where acacia is. And I don't yet have any acacia in the entire world yet. But all of this is sorted down here. And it just goes like that all the way around the room, and that is how the storage system works. And then also in the center of this storage system is the quad beacons that do waste a little bit of resources, but they are totally worth it because they look great from the outside of the building. So that's how this storage system works, and I hope you enjoyed the tutorials. Again, the designs for the storage systems themselves are not mine, but the combination of them I haven't seen on any other server yet. That doesn't mean I haven't missed something, but this combination of units I think is quite unique and makes it for the most functional storage system I've seen yet. It stores basically any item you could possibly want in the server, except for non-stackable items, which you just can't sort as far as I know. So, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Have a good one, and remember, folks, don't get trapped without me. Bye-bye!